Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Thursday Night Football and Saturday NFL Week 15 Saturday recap show as well. So you were supposed to, we had one Thursday game Thursday night. There was supposed to be two, but you did have one today. We'll recap the one from Thursday night and from tonight. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Football Saturday recap trivia question. How many touchdowns did Peyton Manning throw in his career with the Peyton Manning? There's a Colts trivia question. I'll have the answer later on the podcast. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the LA Chargers 34-28 in overtime Thursday night. Patrick Mahomes, the second, throws a walk-off overtime touchdown in a thrilling Chiefs victory. And Thursday night, he threw that game-winning TD to tight end Travis Kelce, who ran it into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. And this was one of those games where the Chargers had chances, but they could not get over that hurdle, and they couldn't do it in overtime either. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs have faced their share of challenges this season. The two-time defending AFC champions are peaking at the right time for another playoff push. Kelce had a career-high 191 yards receiving and scored on a 34-yard pass from Mahomes in overtime. The Chiefs rallied for a 34-28 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers on Thursday night. Kelce caught a tying 7-yard touchdown pass with 1:16 left to go in the fourth, then ended the game with his catch and ran in overtime on a 1st and 10. Kelce pulled in Mahomes' pass at the 30 and eluded two tackles on a route to the end zone where he was swarmed by teammates. I don't think I've ever been a part of a walk-off touchdown or anything like that. So to be in that moment and find him underneath and him making such a dynamic play where, he cut back, ran by people, said Mahomes, who completed 31 of 47 for a season-high 410 yards with 3 touchdowns and an interception. You think he's old, he can't run by people, but he's still running by people, and he got in the end zone. The Chiefs were 3-4 at the end of October, but have won 7 straight to improve to 10-4 and go up by 2 games in the AFC West. And as you know, this game was a battle for first place in the AFC West, and Kansas City hangs on to first place in the AFC West. Kelce had been held to 6 total receptions the past 2 games, but he broke out in a big way. He had 5 of his 10 catches, 442 yards in the fourth quarter and overtime. He also had a 69-yard reception that led to Tyreek Hill's 1-yard touchdown and a 2-point conversion that tied it at 21. Everybody's talking about him losing a step. He looked fast to me, Chiefs coach Andy Reid said after the 32-year-old, Kelce had his 6th career game with at least 10 catches, and his endurance down the stretch for an elder statesman. He's not over the hill. Acceleration is something. Mahomes bounced back after a costly fourth quarter interception led to Austin Eckler's touchdown and gave the Chargers a 21-13 lead advantage. He was 10 of 16 for 197 yards, 3 TDs after the turnover. Obviously, it stinks for the moment. I promise you felt as bad as anyone about the throw in that situation and knew how bad it looked, but you will get another chance, and you better be ready for that moment, Mahomes said. And now, Justin Herbert gave the Chargers a 28-21 lead with 2:19 remaining on an 8-yard TD pass to Keenan Allen. but couldn't make it hold up. And it's the second straight season the Chiefs have come to the Chargers' Hollywood Park home and won in overtime. The goal was to score. We put up points and we got in the end zone. And that was our mission, Herbert said. We would have loved to have been able to run the clock down and not have any time, but this is the NFL, and you have to get in the end zone. Los Angeles defeat came after a terrifying injury to tight end Donald Parham. The 24-year-old appeared to lose consciousness after slamming his head on the turf in the first quarter. He was helped off on a stretcher and taken to a hospital where the team said he is in stable condition. Herbert threw 2 touchdowns and ran for another score, but the Chargers fall to 8-6, come up empty on 3 red zone drives. Herbert completed 22 of 28 passes for 236 yards and an interception. I really like the way we managed the entire game tonight. It didn't go down for us today, but we gave ourselves an opportunity. We just didn't finish the game off defensively, Chargers coach Brandon Staley said. The Chargers fall behind 10-0 early in the second quarter before scoring on 2 straight drives to take a 14-10 lead at halftime. Herbert scored on a 1-yard keeper to off left end and then connected with Jalen Guyton for a 4-yard TD on the next drive. The Chiefs benefited off the Chargers' mistakes for their first 10 points after Los Angeles turned it over on downs. KC went 95 yards in 11 plays, culminating in Michael Burton's 7-yard run up the middle. The Chiefs then turned Anthony Hitchens' interception of Herbert into points on Harrison Butker's 30-yard field goal. Hill had 12 receptions, 148 yards, and a touchdown in his 4th game this season, with at least 11 catches. So 6 straight for Elliker. Elliker's 2nd touchdown of the for the 6th straight game, with a 2-yard run off left end to extend a 21-13 early in the 4th. The TD came after Uchenna Noswu tipped Mahomes' screen pass intended for Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the KC 4 and returned it for 2 yards. It's the 3rd time since 1994 a Chargers player has reached the end zone in at least 6 consecutive games. In 6 consecutive games. LaDainian Tomlinson had a 7-game streak in 2004, and Natrone Means had a 6-game run in 1994. And here's Lorenzo Williams. The Chargers could have had at least a 20-10 lead at halftime had Staley opted for a field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. And Andre Roberts took the opening kickoff 75 yards. Los Angeles drove to the 5 before turning it over on downs on 4 straight incompletions by Herbert. The Chargers could have kicked a field goal on the last play of the first half, but Herbert couldn't connect with Allen on 4th and goal from the 1. Early in the 4th quarter, Los Angeles had a 2nd and goal, but Ben Niemann recovered Joshua Kelly's fumble at the 2. The Chiefs were also were not immune to red zone failures. They were down 14-13 and had a 4th and goal at the 2 when Mahomes' pass to Mecole Hardman was incomplete. Up next, the Chiefs will host Pittsburgh on December 26th, the day after Christmas, and the Chargers travel to Houston to take on the Texans on December 26th. And Chargers safety Darwin James aggravated his hamstring injury during the 3rd quarter. So that's basically what happened in that game. And now it's time to give out the game balls for that one. And I gotta give them to the Chiefs. And that's who they're going to, is the Chiefs. Come on, sucker. All right. Patrick Mahomes, 31 of 47 carries and attempts for 110 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 32 yards, 9 attempts, no touchdown. Travis Kelce, 10 receptions, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns. We'll get to tonight's game in just a moment, but right now it is time to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Week 15 Football Saturday trivia question. How many touchdowns did Peyton Manning throw? And if you said 27, you are correct. Manning and the Colts took the Colts to a 12-4 record, throwing 27 touchdowns, 4,002 passing yards, and he threw 12 yards, and he threw 12 interceptions as well. And I'll have another trivia question on my next podcast, which will be tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Now to get to tonight's game. The Indianapolis Colts beat the New England Patriots 27-17 at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. Jonathan Taylor ran for 170 yards and scored on a 67-yarder touchdown with 2:01 left to go in the fourth quarter. Spoils New England's comeback attempt. And this was one of those games where the Colts just led, and they had a 14-0 lead and just didn't let up in this one. And New England just couldn't get over that hurdle. And that was Jonathan, as I said, ran for 170 yards, scored on a 67-yarder with 2:01 left to help the Indianapolis Colts seal a 27-17 victory over the New England Patriots tonight. The Colts solidified their playoff hopes by winning their for the fifth time in 6 games and ending an 8-game losing streak to the rival Patriots. Taylor ran for a touchdown in 11 straight games to the Hall of Famer Lenny Moore for the longest streak in franchise history. New England won 7 straight, and started the weekend in the top spot of the AFC playoff chase. But the Patriots could not overcome a 20-0 deficit because of too many uncharacteristic mistakes, including Taylor's game-saving run. The game had a little bit of everything: drama, physical play, shouting matches, even a fight that led to rejections of Patriots safety Kyle Duggar and Colts receiver Michael Pittman Jr. But Indy won this one by stealing a page out of Bill Belichick's playbook, using the ground game to chew up the clock and closing it out with a back-breaking play in the warning minutes. And it was Indy's first win over the New England Patriots since 2009. And yet, I didn't have to be close in this one. The Colts and Taylor sent an early message by starting their second series with 7 straight running plays before Taylor took a defensive snap off to Carson Wentz, and then Wentz flipped the ball to Nyheim Hines on an 8-yard scoring pass to take a 7-0 lead. This was but Mac Jones finally got the Patriots right in the fourth. He threw a 12-yard TD pass. Jones to Hunter and Henry, and Nick Folk's short field goal made it 20-10. And Jones hooked up with Henry for a 7-yard touchdown with 2:21 left. But this was one of those games, nevertheless, and the home team just didn't let up. And I got to give the game balls to the Colts. I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm running out of time here. Carson Wentz, 5 of 12, carries and attempts, 57 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jonathan Taylor, 29 attempts, 170 yards, 1 touchdown. And Nate Hines, 1 reception, 8 yards, 1 touchdown. That's just about going to wrap it up, and we got a lot more action tomorrow. I'll let you know what games have been moved to Monday. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.